Well-known author, investment banker, consumer advocate, analyst, trader. Chris Markowski is the watchdog on Wall Street.
You want answers?
Exposing the lies and myths that the big brokerage firms, the mainstream press, and the government are pushing to keep Americans away from financial freedom.
You can't handle the truth.
Bringing America the truth about what really happens in the financial world.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're not here to indulge in fantasy, but in political and economic reality.
This is the Watchdog on Wall Street.
Have you ever heard of it's a theory in regards to coaching and leading people. It's called the excrement sandwich, the poop sandwich. It's where you first give a compliment, then you criticize, hence the excrement, and then you give another compliment. I got to admit, I've used that technique when I've been coaching kids over the year. I try. I might not get to the second level of compliment, whatever it may be. But one of the things that we pride ourselves on here on this program, what I try to pride myself on, is being brutally honest with everyone. We tell you what you need to hear, not necessarily what you want to hear on this program. And today, like I said, not going to be any exception. Okay, so again, if you're easily triggered or offended or whatever it may be, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not going to be serving up any excrement sandwiches here. I'm just going to be serving up reality, the terrain, what's going on. Anyway, I want to start off today. I want to get into some of the financial minutia. We got a lot we've got to go over. In particular, you taking a look at the massive fails by all of these money managers and hedge funds over the past week. Oh, my Lord, merciful. But again, there's big see I told you so moments there. Yeah, you want to go losing money with those guys and paying enormous fees. Have at it. Have at it. Again, I don't know what to tell you. You know, you want to brag to your buddies on the golf course. They're working with so-and-so hedge fund. Yeah, you're losing. Anyway, you know, various different columns talking about market trajectory, what the market's future is going to be over the next 5 years. What's it going to be over the next 10 years? You can expect various different experts out there. You think it's going to be muted stock market returns. Yeah, those are great markets to do well in if you're smart. They really are. They are great markets to do well in if you are smart. If you're prudent in regards to what you're doing, if you're able to rebalance your portfolio on a regular basis. Flat markets, down markets, who cares? It doesn't matter if you're doing the right thing. Anyway, I got a kick out of this past week. One of the gurus of the past couple of years. Kathy Wood, always on TV. They're always talking about her and her ARC Innovation Fund. And she says she's now planning to tell you what her secret formula is, what's in the secret sauce over at ARC Innovation. Do you really want to know? I mean, have you taken a look at the performance? Have you not blown up enough people? She has already put out her model. We'll talk about Tesla a little bit further on in the program. This is her group has actually said that by 2026, Tesla should have, she's got a price target on Tesla for $4,600 a share, putting the valuation at over $5 trillion. Now, Tesla right now is worth about a little over $1 trillion, its market capitalization. So by 2026, 4 years, its market capitalization can go to $5 trillion. Listen, how? How? You explain to me. Knowing what Elon Musk has even talked about as of late, regards to supply chains, issues, mining, a myriad of other things. How in the world are you going to get there? Well, it doesn't matter. And this is important. I want everybody to understand this. How these money managers, more often than not all the time. I mean, there's guys out there that make their money the old-fashioned way. They earn it. Remember that? The old, what was it, Smith Barney? Was that what it was? Smith Barney ad back in the day? People like Buffett and Munger and Icahn and many others that do things the right way. There are others that attract capital to their funds by being outrageous. Kathy Wood is one of those. I remember back in the 1990s. Back in the 1990s, you had one internet analyst after another trying to outdo one another in regards to their predictions for various different .com stocks. Henry Blodgett from Merrill Lynch got himself thrown out of the industry. Not kidding. He's a financial writer now. Got himself thrown out of the industry for just throwing crap at the wall. No basis in anything. And this is how people get hurt. This is what they're no different than those internet influencers on the various different social media outlets out there. They're looking to draw as much attention to themselves as they possibly can. Don't buy into that. The arrogance of these people, again, we've talked about this before. In the field of psychology, it's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. They don't know what they don't know. The Dunning-Kruger effect, it is a bias in which people, and there are many of them on Wall Street, people of very low ability have this illusion of superiority. And they mistakenly assess their cognitive ability as greater than it actually is. The kind of bias of this illusion of superiority comes from the inability of low ability people to recognize their lack of ability. Get it? These people are not self-aware. Oh, they're going to tell you. They're going to tell you. And not only that, they're going to tell you, their buddies in the media are going to tell you how bright, how smart, how intelligent they are, how competent they are, all sorts of, we're just the best out there. And I can go right on down the list. Last week on the program, we went off on all of these economists at the Federal Reserve. Have they been right? Everybody anxiously awaiting what's going to come out in the beige book, anxiously awaiting what Jay Powell is going to say. Why? Why are you awaiting what they're going to say? They're wrong all the time. You're waiting to hear what this hedge fund manager has to say about this, or what Jim Cramer had to say. Let me tell you what Jim Cramer had to say about Tesla just a couple months ago. Buy. How'd that work out, Jim? How'd that work out? It didn't. People, we talked about our process here on the program. Tuning all of this stuff out, avoiding all of this nonsense, the need to have a process. It's a process, very simple. Very simple. Well, years and years and years ago, was it, I don't know. It had to be 16, 17 years ago. It's 4 simple rules that we started with. 4. Compounding the royal road to riches. Play with a compounding calculator. Understand what the best safe yields can do for you over time. The bulk of stock market returns throughout history have been due to the reinvestment of dividends. Rule 2, don't lose money. Don't lose money. Don't lose money. I know you're pretty simple, Markowski. Don't take massive losses, okay? Don't. We talked about this last week on the program. Massive losses, bad. You can take small losses here and there. You don't want any investment to lead to ruin. So again, invest. Invest like somebody who is already wealthy. You don't fall into this trap. And of course, we always talk about buying assets on sale. And oftentimes this involves you reevaluating your portfolio and taking a look at what has become overvalued and moving some of those assets in a different direction. Oh, this is, we'll take some profits off the table here. We'll trim this position. We'll move it elsewhere. So, those 4 simple rules, we expanded on that a little bit when we talked about patience and courage and being able to deal with difficult market conditions. Think about our history at Markowski Investments and what we have accomplished for our clients all over the globe over the years. How is it that we've managed to get it right? Call every financial calamity out there. Prepare our clients. Take advantage of every single one of these situations. How? By not following conventional wisdom. By not following the herd off a cliff. By being patient in what we do. Having a little bit of courage in the face of whatever calamity it might be. That's the process, people. That's what works. Okay? If you think that you are going to be successful, you think your portfolio is going to be successful with some magical trading software by watching CNBC hours on end or going on some sort of chat board out there, you're mistaken. You will lose. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Do we make our clients rich quick? No, we don't. No, we don't. We make that perfectly clear here on the program. If you're looking to get rich quick, you've come to the wrong place. Everything in life that has meaning, value, and worth involves work, time, and effort. No exceptions. Got to take a break. Watchdog on WallStreet.com is our website. Become a part of the Watchdog on Wall Street family. Okay, what does that mean? Personal CFO program, our podcast, all sorts of great stuff there at our website. Personal CFO program, I'll get into that when we get back from the break. I want to explain that to all of our new listeners out there. More and more people becoming a part of it. It's our family office for you, for everyone. Don't go anywhere. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. We'll be back.
I'd like to know.
You should believe in math, not magic. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street with Chris Markowski.
Elton John and Kiki D. Elton John's coming by this summer. I got to go catch him. I don't know how many more tours he's got left in him, and I'm a huge fan of his music. Anyway, today on the program, again, the Watchdog on Wall Street show has the greatest bumper music known to man. And we're doing hits from 1976 today. Hits from 1976, and later on in the show, I'll explain to you why we're doing hits from 1976. But I want to get into our personal CFO program once again for all of our new listeners out there. Just talked about our process and what we do. And that's what our personal CFO program is all about. Learning how to navigate financial storms, corrections, volatility, being able to recognize and avoid risk serious risk, including stuff that pops up out of nowhere, the old Talib, black swans, fat tails, whatever you want to call them. Be able to discern the difference between the conventional wisdom of the day and the reality of the terrain. You're going to find out what we're doing, where the best safe yields reside, and how to apply them in the environment that we have today. And one of the greatest things, the things I love most about our program is that there's no velvet rope. Everyone is invited. We don't have account minimums at Markowski Investments. We help everyone. And that includes access to our accountants, our lawyers, everything. Everything. That's it. That's who we are. It's what we're about. What separates us from everybody else out there. Anyway, I got to go over some stories today. And I mentioned, you might get a little bent out of shape over some of this stuff, but I've just about had it. Sorry, I'm calling you, all you brats out there. You know who I'm talking about right now. All of you brats out there that feel that I and many others out there, your fellow citizens, should have to pay for your college degree, your student loan debt. I'm sick and tired of you. I really am. What the hell's wrong with you people? Did you or did you not take the loans out? Biden administration looks to expand access to student loan debt forgiveness for millions of people. Listen, a college degree, you borrow money to go to college in order to obtain a skill set so you can go out and get yourself a job. You can be marketable in the free market. So in essence, it's a tool. In the same way, a guy trying to start a plumbing company would have to go out and borrow money to buy a truck and tools and equipment for his or her business, or a contractor, whatever it may be. Why is it that your fellow citizens' responsibility to pay off your student loan debt? What about the people that didn't go to school but are going out there and earning a living? People, I'm exhausted with this stuff. I really am. All of these people out there feeling like I'm entitled to have this. This is burdening us. This is terrible. Again, if you can't afford to go to college is too expensive. Well, guess what? There are other options available to you that cost a hell of a lot less money. And you also might want to consider what degree you're getting. I mean, we are looking at one of the greatest job markets for job seekers ever. 5 million job openings over the amount of people that are looking for work. And what? And why I can't afford to pay, so I can't afford to pay this back. I get all these sob stories out there, hear about it all the time. You know what? Get a second job. I did. Many others did out there. I had student loans. They weren't massive student loans, but I had student loans. And I paid them the hell off. Well, I don't understand. Could somebody please, you guys listening out there, explain to this mentality where you feel that you are entitled to have your fellow citizen pay off your degree? Anyway, I seeing this story as well, talking about the rising price of homes, and there's a lot of sob stories out there talking about the unaffordability of homes. And whoa, it's causing renters out there to abandon hope. Oh, no, I'll never be able to own a home. Another one here. The American dream is dead for the first time. Less than half of Americans believe they'll ever own a home. Really? Really? That this is the type of can-do spirit we have in this country? This type of attitude we need to have? Yeah, it's time for a little lecture, time for a pep talk from your watchdog on Wall Street. We're going to take a quick break, and I'm probably going to go off on a rant. Just saying. Watchdog on wallstreet.com, watchdog on wallstreet.com. Again, our site. Take advantage of all the great stuff we have, or give us a call, 24-hour-day help hotline, 800-471-5984.
Bringing America financial freedom one listener at a time. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street with Chris Markowski.
Yeah, I know. Houses have gotten expensive. No doubt about it. Mortgage rates are going up. Sky is going to fall. World is going to end. American dream is dead. It's dead. Less than half of Americans believe they'll ever own a home. Well, I guess you just don't want to work hard enough for it, huh? People, who said you're entitled to a home? I think back, it's not that long ago. This is a little bit of a reality check for people out there. So oftentimes people had second jobs, third jobs, for crying out loud, while you're trying to get ahead. This whining it's so, well, you know what? You can hold off. You can rent for now. You can save money. You can put money away. If you want it bad enough, go out and earn it. Again, I've mentioned this scene in the movie Godfather often here on the program because, again, that's what it feels like sometimes. I read some of these stories. I give you Don Corleone.
I don't know what to do.
You can act like a man! What's the matter with you? Is this how you turned out a Hollywood Pinocchio that cries like a woman? What can I do? What is that now?
Yeah. Whine. Complain. Don't tell me it's not attainable. Okay, I see stories like this, and it boggles my mind. Let me give an example why. I'll give my daughter as an example. My daughter, very good student, junior in high school, plays, two sports a year. The field hockey in the fall. She's in lacrosse now, does travel lacrosse. Going to go on and play in college. Yet, guess what? She's still got her little side hustles and side gigs and babysitting and driving kids from here and there and whatnot. And I just saw she had a wad of cash. A wad. Like mafioso, old school style wad of cash. I'm like, Aspasia, you got to take this. This money's got to go in the bank, for crying out loud. Where did you get all this money? And she's telling me how much money she makes an hour doing these various different side hustles. And I'm like, holy shnikes. And her friends are like, yeah, I get paid to do lifeguarding in the summer at private birthday parties and stuff like that. $40 an hour. I'm like, what? Yeah, I remember going around knocking on doors, shoveling snow. We'll do it for $5. Don't tell me. Stop these stories. Oh, I can't do it. It's too hard. Yeah, this is all coming from the everybody gets a trophy generation. We warned you. It was another see I told you so moment. I saw this whole everybody gets a trophy crap long time ago. We talked about it here on this program. It's not going to end well. It's not going to end well. Funny side story. Why not? I'll bring it up. This is years ago. It had to be 2000. 2003, 2004. I don't know. This again, I'm running a youth sports program, lacrosse, down in Florida. And we obviously knew what we were doing because our players were all stars. We beat everybody. And you'd have other groups saying, could you run our program? Could you run it? But could you teach our kids? And again, my wife's like, Chris, you're going to do more of this? I'm like, yeah, I kind of have to. I would feel bad if I didn't. But then you deal with some of these parents there and these other groups that think a little bit differently than you and demanding that every kid gets a medal and every kid gets a trophy at the end of the season. No. Because, again, this is what it leads to, okay? Stop your whining. Stop complaining. Suck it up. You want to own a home? Go own a home. Earn it. Work for it. Like everything else in life. It's going to be that much nicer. It really is. I will never forget the feeling. The first home that I had. After I stopped renting. First home that I had. And having that beer after mowing the lawn. One of the greatest feelings I've ever had in my entire life. First home after cutting that first lawn. Go out and earn it. Got to take a break. Watchdog on wallstreet.com. Watchdog on wallstreet.com. Again, become part of the Watchdog on Wall Street family. Talks today on the program. That's okay. Get you fired up. Fired up in front of all the naysayers. You can't do it. It's too hard. Let somebody else pay for it. Get out of here.
I won't be able to see you anymore because of my obligations and the ties that you have.
Taking Wall Street's liars, crooks, and cheats out behind the woodshed. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street.
Listen, we're capable of many, many things here at the Watchdog on Wall Street show and Markowski Investments, and we have the best people working for us, and we can do a lot for you. But I'm not bloody Harry Potter, okay? I'm not a wizard. I don't have a wand. If you lost millions of dollars in crypto, I can't make it come back. I can't. Forget about it. That money's gone. You get ripped off by some investment con artists out there, whatever it may be. Yeah, you might be able to get an arbitration. The guy will probably file bankruptcy, and you probably won't see your money. I can't make this money reappear. Can we rebuild back losses over time? Yes, we can. And that's what we do. Not overnight. Same thing holds true with debt. Something I run into all the time. People coming in, they want to get their financial plan done, and they've got $80, $90, $100,000 in credit card debt. Yep, they got all sorts of fancy stuff. But if you honestly think that I'm going to show you a higher level of return, if you think I'm some sort of wizard and I'm going to show you a 30% return a year higher than what you're paying on your credit cards, you're crazy. You have to pay that down. And more often than not, when I explain this to people and the lifestyle choices that they have to, the things that they have to do to change, they don't want to do it. So again, I'm gonna bring on a couple guests here to the program here. From Saturday Night Live, Steve Martin and Amy Poehler, and they're going to explain to you what to do in this situation.
Oh, I just can't get these numbers to add up.
Like we're never going to get out of this hole.
Credit card debt, does it ever end?
Maybe I can help. We sure could use it.
We've tried debt consolidation companies.
We've even taken out loans to help make payments.
Well, you're not the only ones. Did you know millions of Americans live with debt they cannot control? That's why I developed this unique new program for managing your debt. It's called Don't Buy Stuff You Cannot Afford.
Oh, let me see that. if you don't have any money, you should not buy anything. Sounds interesting.
Sounds confusing.
I don't know, honey. This makes a lot of sense. There's a whole section here on how to buy expensive things using money you save.
Give me that. And where would you get this saved money?
I tell you where and how in Chapter 3.
Okay, but what if I want something but I don't have any money?
You don't buy it.
Well, let's say I don't have enough money to buy something. Should I buy it anyway?
No.
Now I'm really confused.
It's a little confusing at first.
Well, what if you have the money? Can you buy something?
Yes.
Now take the money away.
All right, we're going to cut it off there.
Same
We're going to cut it off there. You guys get the idea. You get the idea. It's a great skit from Saturday Night Live talking about, again, being prudent with your money. You can't, people, if you've got that much debt, how are you planning on saving when you're paying those high interest rates? You have to make lifestyle changes. It's okay to make a sacrifice here and there. Sometimes it's okay to take a couple steps backwards to take many steps forwards. But it's whether or not you're going to have the ability to do that. Again, I know a lot of people. I know what age we live in with social media, and we got to show everybody what we have. We've got Keeping Up with the Joneses put on steroids. But if you think that that's good for your financial future, it's not. Number 9, Markowski's Top 20. You have more money than your neighbors, and they don't have a clue. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. We'll be back.
You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street.
Appreciate that.
This is the Watchdog on Wall Street.
Love the beginning of that tune. Anyway, welcome back. It is the Watchdog on Wall Street show. That's right. Tunes from 1976 today on the Watchdog on Wall Street show, and I'll tell you why. It's a surprise a little bit later on in the program. Yeah. Hey, listen. I know. Certain stations, we're on 250-plus stations around the country. Certain stations only carry an hour. Some carry 2. Many carry 3. You don't get the full 3 hours of the program. You can call your radio station and ask. Again, I know that they probably rather air some infomercial there and collect $1 or $2 until that company goes out of business. But anyway, neither here nor there. If you don't get the full 3 hours, you just simply go to our website at watchdogonwallstreet.com, sign up for our podcast. You get the whole kit, can, and caboodle, plus our daily podcasts, which I try to keep short and sweet. Keep it around a half an hour every single day. Anyway, let's talk about Wizards of Smart out there that we're pushing all sorts of nonsense on you. We're gonna center this around Netflix right now, shall we? Again, it's amazing to me. It's amazing to me that people didn't see it coming. Did you happen to take a look? Did you happen to take a look after the stock tanked? Tanked! It's the second time it's tanked over the past couple of months. All of a sudden, after it tanks, every single major Wall Street firm comes out and sell. So we're going to neutral now. We're going to sell now. What exactly do you guys do? I'm sure you've got your CFAs. I'm sure you probably went to some fancy pants Ivy League school. But you don't have a clue. If you couldn't see the problems with Netflix a long time ago, we went over them here on the program. And we stated, I said, it's going to eventually come home. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. I've had my account information stolen. I can't tell you how many times at Netflix. And I, eventually find out that somebody is, logging onto my account in Algeria. And I'm scratching my head and I'm saying to myself, don't you guys have any sort of artificial intelligence to kind of figure out where something might be amiss? Huh? You haven't figured that out yet? You haven't figured it out? The people sharing account of their multiple devices. You can't track that? I mean, in essence, they're stealing. And you're allowing it to happen. Now, let's couple that with the fact that, let's be honest, your programming hasn't been very good. Elon Musk tweeted out, talk about all the woke crap that they decide to put on there. South Park, several years ago, I can't remember what year it was, but they basically called this too. The kids from South Park decided to start their own superhero series. They call up Netflix. The guy answers the phone at Netflix, says, hello, welcome to Netflix. You've been greenlighted. I mean, have you not taken a look at some of the programming that they've gotten? How many people have started watching a show on Netflix? You get maybe 15 minutes into the first episode, and you're like, this stinks. Click. I'm moving on. Again, it was as plain as right out there in front of everybody. But again, supposedly the Wizards are smart out there. They didn't see it. Bill Ackman. And again, I am no fan of this guy. If you remember back in 2020, we went nuts on this guy. And we called it as well. The guy went on CNBC, if you remember, and basically said that we needed to shut the country completely down. I don't know what he said, for 6 weeks, 2 months, because he didn't want his dad to die. And he crashed the market. He basically, obviously, had all the situation with COVID going on. He was the catalyst. He went on there. They allowed him all the time in the world, and he crashed the market. Now, as it turns out, he positioned his portfolio accordingly, knowing what he was doing, and made money off that. It ticked me off. Again, I don't really know if that's, and again, it's skirting. It's in gray areas, so you could probably get away with it. Difficult to prove that he did anything illegal there. The same Bill Ackman that gets his butt kicked all the time by the likes of Carl Icahn. He dumped his entire Netflix stake that he bought back in January. You want these guys to manage your money? You know what his loss was? $430 million in 4 months. $430 million in 4 months. Was that his loss? Maybe a little bit, but his clients. Again, made fun of Jim Cramer. Buy. Not too long. About 60% ago, he goes on Mad Money. Oh, they got so much great stuff going on there. And I'm scratching my head and I'm saying to myself, are you kidding? Here, all in on Netflix. Now all of a sudden, Netflix seems lost at sea without a plan to find the shore. One after another. All of these fools, these wizards are smart that they parade on these programs. People, tune them out. Tune them out, okay? They're just going to drive you to financial ruin. Anyway, got to take a break. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Take advantage of all the great stuff we have at our site. Again, our personal CFO program, podcast, you name it. Watchdog on WallStreet.com, or give us a call, 800-471-5984.
Chris Markowski is the Watchdog on Wall Street. Well-known author, investment banker, consumer advocate, analyst, trader. Chris Markowski is the watchdog on Wall Street.
You want answers?
Exposing the lies and myths that the big brokerage firms, the mainstream press, and the government are pushing to keep Americans away from financial freedom.
You can't handle the truth.
Bringing America the truth about what really happens in the financial world.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're not here to indulge in fantasy, but in political and economic reality.
This is the Watchdog on Wall Street.
All righty, welcome, everybody. Welcome back. It is the Watchdog on Wall Street. Always honored to have you tuned into the program. I have to say, I probably should have created some sort of filter or folder, if I actually knew how to do that, in my Microsoft Outlook for all of the questions that we got in regards to Tesla and Elon Musk and Twitter and takeovers. I'm being honest, it's impossible for me to get to all the questions. I'm going to try to kind of cover basically what everybody's been asking here in regards to this. And again, this is kind of masterclass in regards to businesses and how they're run. There's a great, you can go online, you can watch it. It's a great story. Actually, if you Google Carl Icahn fires 12 floors, you'll get him telling the story. Took place, I don't know, had to be 1982, 1983, and around there. And this is in his younger years as a corporate raider, and a good one. And he buys a railroad car company, and he's taking a look at he's saying, wow, look at the numbers that this company's doing, but he can't figure out why it's not making money, and he delves into it, and push comes to shove, he figures out that they've got this big Manhattan office. 12 floors of staff. Couldn't figure out what the hell they actually do. Couldn't figure out what they actually were doing. So he hires a bunch of people, pays them $250,000 to do a study. And they come in, they present him with this big, thick book of charts and graphs. And he's like, come on, guys, I'm not going to read this. What do these people do? We don't know. So what do you do? Fired them all. Got rid of them all. Gave them severance. Got rid of them. Elon Musk caught some flack because he talked about Carl Icahn, tweeted about Carl Icahn and firing 12 floors and what's going on over at Twitter and the waste and the staff that they have. If you take a look at the performance of Twitter's stock, awful. I haven't figured out how to monetize a damn thing, for crying out loud. And you think about it. Think about all the views that, they get on a regular basis. You also think about the fact that a lot of the tweets that are outrageous end up getting promoted in the mainstream media. They haven't figured out how to really make any money. They got a lot of people working at the company, sitting around doing what? I don't know. Taking a look at tweets and seeing what they like and what they don't like. Again, this happens a lot in corporate America. It does. You've got to get rid of waste. I was reminded. I'm going to play a clip from you from a great late 1990s film titled Office Space. And in the film, this company's got a lot of waste, and they bring in some consultants to figure out how to cut some of the waste. And they were the Bobs. Have a listen.
What you do in Initech is you take the specifications from the customers and you bring them down to the software engineers.
Yes, that's right.
Well, then I just have to ask, why couldn't the customers just take them directly to the software people, huh?
Well, I'll tell you why. Because engineers are not good at dealing with customers.
So you physically take the specs from the customer?
Well, No, my secretary does that, or the fax.
Huh. So then you must physically bring them to the software people.
Well, no. Yeah, I mean, sometimes.
What would you say you do here?
What would you say you do here? Yeah. That's, in essence, what Musk is trying to do with Twitter. He sees this property here, and it's this company, and you take a look at it, and you're saying to yourself, what a waste. What an absolute waste. Look at all of the possibilities here, and this is all you've been able to do. And you take a look at the board of directors, and it's filled with a bunch of liberal sycophants there that love patting each other on the back and telling each other how awesome they are, and then hiring more and more people to sit around and judge tweets. It's kind of like what happens is the waste that you see in colleges and universities with all the diversity crap and administrators that they have here, there, and everywhere. Waste. Again, there's something to be said for cutting out the fat. You know, I've talked about this. I'm going to play another clip for you here. And this one's a bit of a lengthy clip. But again, this was from the movie Wall Street. It's Teldar Paper shareholders meeting, very famous scene in the movie. And in essence, is Gordon Gekko is Elon Musk, and Elon Musk is Gordon Gekko in this speech. Have a listen.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity you're giving me, Mr. Cromwell, as the single largest shareholder in Teldar Paper, to speak. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're not here to indulge in fantasy, but in political and economic reality. America has become a second-rate power. Its trade deficit and its fiscal deficit are at nightmare proportions. Now, in the days of the free market, when our country was a top industrial power, there was accountability to the stockholder. The Carnegies, the Mellons, the men that built this great industrial empire made sure of it because it was their money at stake. Today, management has no stake in the company. Altogether, these men sitting up here own less than 3% of the company. And where does Mr. Cromwell put his $1 million salary? Not in Teldar stock. He owns less than 1%. You own the company. That's right. You, the stockholder, and you are all being royally screwed over by these bureaucrats with their steak lunches, their hunting and fishing trips, their corporate jets and golden parachutes.
This is an outrage. You're out of line, Gekko.
Teldar Paper, Mr. Cromwell, Teldar Paper has 33 different vice presidents, each earning over $200,000 a year. Now, I have spent the last 2 months analyzing what all these guys do, and I still can't figure it out.
One thing I do right know there. You know, it's funny. It's funny. There's. I don't know if it's true or not. It's a bit of a legend that scene there, talk about analyzing all the vice presidents, what they do. That was taken from what Carl Icahn did. That bit in Teldar Paper, Gordon Gekko, that speech is always focused on the greed is good aspect, which he mentions. And again, the concept of greed, you think the word greed, can be a kind of an ugly word. And Oliver Stone in the film, he uses it for a certain reason. He's trying to make a point. But I'm sorry, it was the wrong phrase. Okay? It really was. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with having hunger. There's nothing wrong with being ambitious. There's nothing wrong with going out there and striving to perform better. What's that? The Raiders slogan, commitment to excellence. Is there something wrong with that? Last week on the program, that lesson my father gave me about not doing things half-ass. Don't do things half-ass. You always try to excel. You always try to one-up yourself. You compete against yourself. What Musk is doing right now, and again, it's a pushback against the elites. It's a pushback against the elites. They have to have their control. They don't like it. Why wouldn't the board of directors want to accept an offer like Musk gave? Shareholders are going to make a fortune. He's overpaying to some degree. But again, I kind of like some of the plans and what he wants to do with the company. Again, the whole going back to the 1980s, and I wrote columns about this, comparing some of the corporate raiders to the 1980s, the Carl Icahns. Carl Icahn is still very, very active. To some of these private equity people today that instead of creating any value in the companies that they buy, they just put tons of debt on their balance sheet and destroy them. No, there's nothing wrong with coming in and cutting the fat and making a company profitable. Nothing at all. So again, if Elon wants to spend his money, and again, he is the largest shareholder, he wants to take the thing private, have at it. And good luck. Anyway, watchdogonwallstreet.com, watchdogonwallstreet.com. Again, become part of the Watchdog on Wall Street family. Again, a personal CFO program, podcast, newsletter, you name it, watchdogonwallstreet.com, or give us a call, 800-471-5984.
With a woman's eyes.
The only man who is taking on the Wall Street establishment. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street with Chris Markowski.
I got to share this story with you. I read it twice. I read it twice because I was like, what? And I don't know. I don't know what type of magical powers this guy has. His powers of persuasion over people that he's lost money for, but it must be pretty good. The hedge fund manager, you might remember this guy. It was the whole meme stock fiasco, Melvin Capital. Gabe Plotkin. Gabe Plotkin got bailed out by regulators and his buddies with the whole meme stock run-up. Well, he has come out with a plan for his clients. By the way, his fund that he manages is down, well over 20% first quarter of this year. He says, I tell you what, everybody, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you back all of your money. And then you're going to give it back to me, and I'm going to start a new fund. That's right. I'm going to start a new fund. But the interesting thing is that he can't make the rules of his fund is he has to hit a certain mark as far as performance is concerned before he can get paid. And this would eliminate that mark. Now, again, to quote Forrest Gump, stupid is as stupid does. You want to continue? What am I going to do? Okay, what are you gonna do? Like I said, you can take a look at this. It's like surreal to some degree. It's like I lost you a ton of money. I'm gonna give it back to you. You're gonna give it back to me, and you're gonna start paying me again to try to make money back. Okay, whatever. Anyway, talk a little bit about the dollar and dollar strength. It's an interesting phenomenon right now. I mentioned this on the podcast this past week. I was doing some television program, and I said something that in today's day and age, I guess, was not politically correct. And I was reminded of this by the people that handle, my appearances and my bookings. Like, Chris, you probably shouldn't say that. And the phrase I used was, we're the tallest midget in the room. And again, I'm sorry, but I guess you can't use that word midget. Can't, I'm sorry. The small person. Can you say the tallest small person in the room? I don't know. Maybe I don't know, the tallest little Greek lady in the room. What I mean by when I go to Greek church with my wife and my mother-in-law, I feel like I'm Shaq oftentimes in these Greek Orthodox churches. You get all these cute little old ladies wearing all black. They're, tiny. But anyway, I'm getting off the beaten track. Dollar strength. Why is the dollar so strong? Again, our economy looks a hell of a lot better than elsewhere. We're in a much better situation. We're set up for a lot of success if we choose to take advantage of it. You take a look at the dollar to euro, and it wouldn't surprise me come summertime that we're getting close to parity. It's like $1.08 now to the dollar. The dollar continues to strengthen versus the yen. You got a myriad of things that are happening around the globe. The lockdowns in China, what's happening in Russia. You've had all sorts of the dollar is dead, people out there talking about China getting together with Russia and maybe India and maybe Brazil and offering an alternative to the dollar. I don't see it, people. I just don't see it. Again, I think they might get some people to sign up for that, but hey, that's great. You got Cuba and Venezuela, maybe Bolivia. I don't know. Do you really think that everyone's going to sign up for that? I don't at all. And this is why the dollar is continue to be very, very strong. Mitt Romney had a editorial this past week, and I want to go over it to some degree. Man, Mitt cracks me up. He does. He's a funny guy. He doesn't mean to be funny, but he's funny to me. He really is. Again, I remember when Mitt Romney's running, and I supported Mitt when he was running against Barack Obama. Again, my candidate was out. They found a way to get rid of Ron Paul. So, there I am supporting Mitt Romney. And I remember what the Republican Party wanted to do. I'm a member of the Republican Party. They wanted people to go to polling places and try to look at the counter to see who had voted and who hadn't voted. Like, actually look over the shoulder. This was their plan. Yeah, meanwhile, the Obama campaign is using all sorts of technology and getting out the votes and doing all this stuff. That was the Romney campaign, one of the worst campaigns I've ever seen. But anyway, he's talking about inflation and how Biden has worsened inflation. And he's talking about how Americans are having a tough time making ends meet, and the Fed needs to restore its singular focus on monetary stability. Leave the social policies to the branches of government that are elected by the people. Yeah, he mentions that they need to hire some more hawkish economists. Mitt, the last thing, honestly, the Fed needs right now are more economists. Let me be honest with you, Mitt. They need business owners. Okay? They need people that have actually not spent their entire lives at the Fed, at some bank, in some Ivy Tower, at some Ivy League school. But he's right in this editorial. He talks about our need to be more competitive when it comes to rare earth minerals, a myriad of other things that we have fallen far behind. Talks about the need for us to increase our domestic supply of oil and gas. We have to fix the supply chain. These are all things that we could do. We talk about wasted talent all the time. We are wasting our talent. But then he goes full politician. We need to establish a bipartisan, bicameral commission to rescue our federal entitlement programs from impending collapse. Oh, you mean like the Simpson Bowls, which you did under the Obama administration? How'd that one work out, huh? No, you guys don't have any interest in solving any problems. I really don't believe it. You like talking about it, but you don't have any real interest in doing anything about it. Anyway, Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Don't go anywhere. Be back.
You should believe in math, not magic. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street with Chris Markowski.
Great tunes, as always, here at the Watchdog on Wall Street show. Again, hits from 1976, and coming up third hour of the program, we're going to tell you why. There's always a reason we're going to do these. I like this, doing this on a regular basis on the program, picking a year and doing some tunes. There's got to be purpose behind it, and I'll get to that purpose a little bit later. But anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about inflation. I watched Obama Economic Council Chairman Jason Furman. He was on with Cavuto. I think Furman is at Harvard now, misinforming his students there, if I'm not mistaken. And he came on and he said that we threw every log on the fire at once when it came to COVID. We got the economy going too hot. We threw too many logs on the fire. Reminded me of that Eddie Murphy comedic bit there with the barbecue back in the 1980s. Every year goes, you come to my house and you burn my house down. But anyway, every log on the fire. Then I saw, what day? It was Thursday this past week. New York Times has a piece talking about the Biden $1.9 trillion spending package and how it's helping areas and all of these communities around the country are using these COVID funds to build community centers and all of this other stuff. Not COVID related. But the New York Times is, again, trying to help out, trying to bail out Joe Biden, actually say, hey, look at that $1.9 trillion is being used on stuff. It was printed. Okay? It was printed, and you just dropped it on the country. What did you think was going to happen with inflation? And again, Donald Trump's $900 billion package back in December of 2020 wasn't any better. Well, it wasn't worse. It wasn't $1.9 trillion. But yeah, inflation is running hot. But I want to talk a little bit about how this is going to be handled. Everybody's talking about, they love using various different, you want to call it metaphors to talk about how you're going to engineer an economic problem, like they're capable of doing it. They still get people believing that they can actually engineer. Can the Fed engineer a soft landing? Or will it be a bumpy landing? Oh, we got airplanes in it now. Listen, okay, I'm taking a look at the jobs market right now, which is extraordinarily tight. The folks at the Apple store in Manhattan, Grand Central Station, they're trying to unionize, and they want starting salary $30 an hour. $30 an hour. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Verizon has already raised its minimum starting wage to $20 an hour. This is working in their retail outlets. On that front, the economy is strong. The various different wizards of smart that are coming out and talking about rising unemployment, I don't get it. How? Listen, I'm an employer. I know a lot of my clients, most of my clients are small business owners, employers. You think that they want to start laying people off? You think that that's where they're going to go first as far as cutbacks? And again, recessions, okay, let's say the economy does slow. Let's say we head into a recession and companies are going to have to adjust and they're going to have to cut costs. You think they're going to cut workers? I don't know. I don't know. They've had such a hard time getting workers. I think that that's not going to be the place that they go. So I disagree with that. Anyway, this is interesting. Talking about corporate taxes. And if you do recall under the Obama administration, we had the highest corporate tax rate in the world, 35%. Got lowered to 21%. If you do remember, during the Obama administration, many companies were accused of being unpatriotic because they said, screw this, they're not paying us 35%. We're going to move our headquarters to Dublin. We're going to move our headquarters to Bermuda or Bahamas. We're out of here. This is insane. And again, smart decision. You're saving the shareholders a ton of money. Not only that, it's good for your consumers, too, because guess what? You're not paying as much in taxes. You don't have to charge them as much. Now, the concern by the left-wing lunatics out there was that, oh, my God, this is terrible. Tax revenues are going to drop. Did they? No. No, they didn't. It's kind of interesting. Tax cuts working every single time they're tried. Got to take a quick break. We get back. I got kind of a recant story. Going back. Again, this is going back to when Hillary was running against Obama for the nomination and a debate that they had in regards to taxes. In this case, it was capital gains taxes. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Don't go anywhere. We shall return.
Bringing America financial freedom one listener at a time. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street with Chris Markowski.
It happens every now and then. And for me, it's almost like taking a picture in my mind. It is. You'll see some elitist out there, some politician basically you want to call it a Freudian slip, call it a Freudian slip. They tell you what they really think. They tell you what they really think. Oftentimes it's by accident, but they just let it slip. And one of those moments in time that I'll never forget was the Democratic debate between Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. And Charles Gibson was questioning some of the taxation, the policies in regards to, in this case, capital gains taxes. And he actually went to Senator Obama at the time and asked him, under the Clinton administration, they lowered capital gains taxes and the revenue to the Treasury increased. Lowered taxes, higher tax revenue. And he basically wanted Obama's response to that because at the time Hillary Clinton was not in favor of raising capital gains taxes. And Obama's response was he wanted to raise taxes due to fairness. Telling me exactly who this guy was at that point in time. Exactly who he was. And it scared the crap out of me. Why it's somehow the job of the government, some elected official, to level the playing field, if you will, to knock down people that go out and build and create. No. Again, where in the United States Constitution does it even discuss anything like this? It's a job of elected officials to take away from people who are prudent, that invest, that save, that put money away, that build, that create, in order to give it to people that do not. That, according to, I guess that's fairness. That was fairness according to Obama, and again, saw right through it. Anyway, another interesting piece by a gentleman by the name of Alfredo Ortiz. He's the president and CEO of the Jobs Creator Network. And his idea, and I'm sorry, Alfredo, it's a nice column you wrote there, but I got a better chance of playing center field for the Yankees and this actually happening. He talked about protecting taxpayers and the economy by making the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act permanent. That was Donald Trump's tax bill that lowered taxes. Is he kidding? He actually wasted time writing a piece about this. Let me explain everybody something, okay? Republicans and Democrats, why do they put expiration dates on taxes and various different tax laws? Why do you think that is? Well, one of the reasons is so it scores better with the CBO. The other reason is it allows politicians, whether they be an elephant or whether they be a donkey, to raise taxes without having to raise taxes. No, my full taxes went up. The tax cuts expired. This is by design. Both parties like it. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. We'll be back.
Taking Wall Street's liars, crooks, and cheats out behind the woodshed. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street.
Welcome back, everybody. It is the Watchdog on Wall Street show. Again, people, we do our darndest every single week to talk about the terrain. Get rid of all of the conventional wisdom, which is poison, all of the narratives, all of the crap that they're trying to shove down your throat. All we got is, we got our 3 hours here on the weekend, and we got our podcast every single day. But again, I invite you to become a part of what we do at Markowski Investments. Sign up for our personal CFO program. Again, you have access to everything that we have at our firm. Everything we have at our firm, our accountants, our lawyers, our money managers, everything. And, I want to mention this as well. We continue to add offices all over the country. And we you know how we add offices? Because, again, I can't be in all these different places at the same time. And there's 3 Markowski brothers, and there's my nephew, Josh Markowski, who works for us. But we bring on advisors as well. So if you're sick and tired of being told what to do by some god-awful sales manager and having to put your clients into crappy positions, and you want to have a little bit of ownership, contact us as well. We'll see if it's a fit. And guess what? We might build you an office. Anyway. I mentioned this earlier. We talked about the tight labor market here. And I had 2 stories here that I found kind of interesting. Talked about how the Apple employees in New York are looking to unionize, and there's also a Apple store in Georgia, in Atlanta, have started unionization efforts there. And I got a kick out of what they wanted here, because Apple pays pretty darn well. We want a seat at the table to talk about safety for our employees. What? You work in an Apple store, okay? You're not working in a sweatshop. This is not Upton Sinclair's The Jungle, okay? You work in an Apple store. I get a kick out of some of these kids that are trying to do this. And here's the other story that I can kind of give you a juxtaposition. A Whole Foods in Austin, Texas. You can now check out via your palm print. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you wave your palm, over, and they collect your credit card information, check out, and you're gone. Yeah, technology will find a way. And I'm sorry, people working at the Apple store. I've gone into Apple stores. The people that are absolutely essential employees at the Apple store are the ones at the Genius Bar. The ones that if you have questions that can actually help you with stuff, that if you're trying to fix something, they deal with that. If you don't think that they could find a way, Apple of all companies could find a way to automate those stores. They could. And they will if you make their costs too high. That's just how things work. Again, more and more self-checkout lines. Starting to notice that? Yeah, me too. And again, I mean, how hard? I talked about some of the podcasts this past week. $30 an hour to work at an Apple store. How many people walked into an Apple store and you get like 4 or 5 of them? They're all wearing the same T-shirt, and they're all hanging out with one another, just standing there. And you're looking around and whatnot. You got to go up to them and say, I need some help, and then they'll come and they'll grab you what you want. And I'm saying this is not hard. Again, I remember when retail, I hated it. Oh, I hated it so much. Yeah, but it was work, and I did it. I until I found something better. I worked at a Gap. I'm not much for folding clothes. Not to mention folding piles of T-shirts. No, that'll be a task that I'm undergoing in purgatory someday. Folding T-shirt after T-shirt after T-shirt after T-shirt. The funny thing is, to this day, anybody who's worked at one of those Gap stores and had to do all that folding goes into a store, and when they want to look for a size, asks for help. Ask for help. I don't touch a pile of anything in any store because I've been there, done that. I'm like, I need an extra large. Could you find that for me? I don't want to mess up their work. Anyway, moving on. The White House is all happy, joy about their infrastructure bill, right? Oh, we're going to build infrastructure and we're going to fix the roads. Oh, I got whacked this past week. I knew it was going to happen. I finally, I hit the pothole of death. Boom! Car's shaking all over, big bubble on the side of my tire. Son of a! Yeah, driving around. It's trying to avoid potholes. It's eventually they're going to get you. It is what it is. But anyway, the White House this past week decided to revive this National Environmental Policy Act, which Donald Trump got rid of, which basically is going to make all of your road building and infrastructure projects. Oh, yeah. You're not going to see those things for years and years and years. What the Biden administration did is they authorized all of this money for infrastructure, and they decided to throw a ton of red tape at it. USA. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. We'll be back.
You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street. Well-known author, investment banker, consumer advocate, analyst, trader. Chris Markowski is the Watchdog on Wall Street.
You want answers?
Exposing the lies and myths that the big brokerage firms, the mainstream press, and the government are pushing to keep Americans away from financial freedom.
You can't handle handle the truth.
Bringing America the truth about what really happens in the financial world.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're not here to indulge in fantasy, but in political and economic reality.
This is the Watchdog on Wall Street.
All righty, welcome back, everybody. Action-packed hour number 3 of the Watchdog on Wall Street show. I have to share with everybody this story. We're gonna delve into energy policy, just the absolute folly that are the people running the show. Just how off the rails we are when it comes to any sort of common sense, when it comes to energy, when it comes to manufacturing, where we are and where we want to be. It's a fascinating interview with the CEO of Rivian. Now, Rivian is a electric truck company based in Illinois. We got after the CEO this past year. This what's his name? RJ Scaringe. We got after him because it was out of desperation. And also I think a little bit of arrogance as well. If you remember this past year, he sent an email to all of the people that already paid for, put deposits down, agreed to purchase one of his trucks, and told them that he's raising the price after the fact. Again, I've never heard of anything like that in my entire life. I mean, we've all gone and gotten ourselves a car, and then they start putting add-ons in the process of purchasing the car, right? But this was after you were done. This was after you were done with all the add-ons. You were just waiting for your car to be manufactured and delivered. He sent an email to people saying, you know what, you're going to have to send us some more money. And obviously customers revolted. And the reason being is he started selling cars, and they at Rivian assumed that there were certain costs involved with certain materials that they needed for this car. And they didn't take into consideration that those commodities that they needed could go up in price. Miscalculated. Anyway. Again, he talks about the shortages that are out there. Okay, talks about the shortages that are going to occur for mining, all of the raw materials, the mining that's involved, the processing that's involved. And he talks specifically about battery cells. Battery cells. He says, put very simply, all the world's battery cell production combined, all of it combined, represents well under 10% of what we'll need in 10 years. Think about that for a second. 90 to 95% of the supply chain doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. We talked about some of the supply chain issues with semiconductors. That's small potatoes. That's disrupting the auto industry right now. But again, that'll be taken care of. Raw materials? Minerals? Do you think it's so easy to just go ahead and open up a mine? Especially here in the United States. Anybody really think and consider why Elon Musk decided to put his gigafactory, one of his made factories in China? Where do you think all of these minerals, where do you think these materials come from at this point in time? Not that we can't get them elsewhere, not that we can't find them here. We just choose not to. We choose not to. Do we really want to, as a nation, put ourselves in the same predicament, same situation that Europe's in right now, being reliant upon Russia for their energy needs? Because again, everybody's all in electric cars, got to have your electric car. You had Mayor Pete Buttigieg, who doesn't know his buttocks from a hole in the ground, suggesting that everybody go out and get themselves an electric car. Everybody go buy yourself an electric car. Right. Even what is it? The mid-size Tesla SUV. It doesn't even look like it. It looks like a small car. 8 months, at least. At least. Again, they're saying that now. 8 months at least before you can even hope to getting one of those. And what do you think is going to happen? That's right now, based upon demand in today's day and age. What if more people start wanting to purchase these things? But then what's going to happen? Well, it's going to use up more of these minerals. It's going to use off more of these materials. Now, let's also take into consideration as well. Let's take into consideration some of the other crap that they're trying to force down everybody's throats. I don't know if you've noticed, but the price of, well, we pay attention to crap like this. The price of windmills and solar panels, they're going up. They're going up, and no, it's not because factories are shut down in China and Shanghai. It's the materials. It's all of the things that you need. Copper, nickel, aluminum, graphite, lithium. Every electric vehicle contains 400 pounds more aluminum and about 150 pounds more copper than a conventional car. You got all these people out there talking about decarbonization. Do you have any idea how much this is going to cost? Lithium. Everybody's familiar with lithium now because of car and grid batteries. Prices are up 1,000% the past 2 years. Prices of copper and nickel up 200 and 300% respectively over the same period. Aluminum, the second most used metal on earth after iron ore, is up 200%, trading at a 30-year high. What does this do? What is this doing? It's driving the costs up for all of this stuff. All of this stuff. 20% up for wind turbines. I go right on down the list. Batteries, everything that goes along with this. Again, we told you here on the program. You get all those commercials on TV with the gold and silver bugs. I'm like, no, you might want to invest there's other ways of investing in better commodities that people actually need and use. Honestly, what's more useful? Gold in today's day and age or this stuff? The stuff that goes into things that, again, this is the direction we're heading in at this point in time. Again, we're not organized. We don't have any sort of plan. I was reminded, and I know I mentioned this skit. Well, excuse me. It's an episode. It was an episode of South Park back, this was like the second season. So I don't know, it was 1998, 1999. And it was, in essence, I went back and I watched it this past week. The underwear gnomes. And in this, there's kind of a defense of capitalism to some degree. And it really was. They were talking about a big business coming down and the town folk getting all upset and ruining this and ruining that. It was all nonsensical. But anyway, the underwear gnomes were actually these little gnomes that would go around and they would steal underpants. That was part of their business plan. And that was part one of their business plan. But you know what? We grabbed the clip. So we're going to play it for you. This is from South Park. I think this is episode 15, 16, season 2. I give you the underwear gnomes.
This is where all our work is done.
So what are you going to do with all these underpants that you steal?
Collecting underpants is just phase 1. Phase 1, collect underpants.
So what's phase 2?
Hey, what's what's phase 2? Phase 1, we collect underpants. Yeah, but what about phase 2? Well, phase 3 is profit. Get it?
I don't get it.
You see, phase 1, collect underpants. Phase 2, phase 3, profit.
Oh, I get it. No, you don't, fat ass. Do you guys know anything about corporations?
You bet we do.
Oh, gee. All right. Listen, I begged you before because, you know, they could get in some foul language on South Park. I don't want to screw up there. But anyway, that's basically what we're doing right now. Okay? Yeah. Phase 1, make electric car. Everything that's going into this is missing the middle. The old saying, putting the cart before the horse. We're doing that now. Utility companies right now are clamoring to try to upgrade their grids for all of this stuff. What's that going to do? That's going to make your already extraordinarily high electric bill go through the roof. We can't get any sort of direction when it comes to some of this smaller modular nuclear sites. There was a great article talking about trying to convert older coal plants to nuclear and actually training the existing workers at those coal-fired plants and teaching them how to do this. But no action in regards to this. Everything caught up in red tape. So instead, you get these modern-day underwear gnomes on TV and in the administration. Oh, it's electric cars and windmills. Oh, clean energy, carbon-free. But you forgot the middle part. All of the things that are involved in all of this. We've got none of that. This is the type of leadership that we have today. And again, people, you know, we all have to take a good hard look at ourselves in the mirror because, again, we vote for these people. Time and time again. These same fools. These same underwear gnomes. Anyway, got to take a break. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com. Don't go anywhere, but if you do, again, get to our website, sign up for all the great stuff that we have there, personal CFO program, podcast, you name it. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com or give us a call, 800-471-5984.
I believe in miracles.
This is the Watchdog on Wall Street.
All right. We've come to that point in time. Come to that point in time in the show where I let you know why. Why this week we're playing hits from 1976. Well, I was thinking about a movie that I saw back in the 1970s, and it just so happened. I didn't see it at the movie theater. I saw it on television. It just so happened that, in fact, I think it was just made for TV. I went and I looked it up, and it was actually made in 1976. It starred none other than the John Travolta, The Boy in the Plastic Bubble. Yes. 1976, that movie came out, The Boy in the Plastic Bubble. And the 1976 music today is in honor of that movie because we still have a lot of people that would love to live in a plastic bubble. So we get the CDC coming out and saying that the mask mandate is no longer in effect. No longer in effect because a judge ruled it unconstitutional. Judge ruled it unconstitutional. But I knew it. I knew it wouldn't be long before there was going to be blowback. Before there was going to be pushback. Yeah, it's that, Gollum and Lord of the Rings, the precious The precious, the ring of power. They crave power. All of the people out there that all of a sudden have lost a little bit of power. Oh, come on, people. Come on. How many times have you been on a plane during this whole thing? And sometimes you get the cool flight crew, and then other times you get the stick up the buttocks flight crew. Would you please put that over your nose, please? Again, no science involved with the masks whatsoever. So we finally got a little bit of science. Yeah, it reminded me. You know what? We're going to play. I grabbed the clip for this. It reminded me. You know, when this ruling happened, when it first came out, I was thinking of Jesse, our old friend Jesse from Breaking Bad. Have a listen.
4 pounds. 4 pounds. 2 pounds wasn't bad enough. We're talking 200-300 boxes of sinus pills. There ain't that many Smurfs in the world.
We're not going to need pseudoephedrine. We're going to make phenylacetone in a tube furnace. Then we're going to use reductive amination to yield methamphetamine, 4 pounds.
So no pseudo.
No pseudo.
So you do have a plan. Yeah, Mr. White. Yes, science.
Yes, science. Yes, science. Because, again, we don't like paying attention to it at all. John Tierney put out a piece this past week looking at multiple studies of masks. Multiple studies of masks. Mask mandates versus no mask mandates in the United States. No difference. No difference whether a state mandated masks or didn't mandate masks. You can do the same thing in the European Union. They did the same study. It didn't matter. It was all theater. It was all about control. And we knew this from the beginning. We knew that the people that told us to put the masks on at first were telling us that we had no need for them, for crying out loud. Now, because they're upset that they lost a little power, the CDC is asking the Department of Justice to appeal the lifting of the mask mandate to protect public health. Again, Department of Justice doesn't have anything else better to do at all. Nothing else at all. Nothing better to do at all. Again, it's it's the reality of the world we live in. Is people enjoy that a little that power that they have, and they are going to cling to it, and they don't like giving it up. This is interesting, thoughts, and I've talked about this before in regards to the United States Constitution and the separation of powers, and how our country right now, our government's out of whack. It's out of whack because we've got too much power concentrated with the executive branch of government, with all of this myriad of different agencies out there that are judge, jury, and executioner over everyone else, the type of power that they have. Remember the old Saturday morning cartoons there? And you used to, in the 1970s, they would have Schoolhouse Rock, and the whole skit there would, I'm just a bill, just an ordinary bill. Does Congress pass any laws? Do they? Or is it just, it's all done there? It's all done in these various different agencies. Again, bureaucrats loving power, loving to tell people what to do. At some point in time, people, got to push back. Yeah, we're pushing back. Why? Yeah. What are you going to do? Honestly, what are you going to do now? If they change the ruling and the CDC says, you got to wear masks again on an airplane. You don't think that's going to cause all sorts of havoc and a ruckus on these planes? You don't think it's going to be a complete mess? Why would you do this at this point in time? Again, This is, I guess, your country. It's USA 2022. These are the people that are in charge. God help us. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Again, become a part of the Watchdog on Wall Street family, our personal CFO program, podcast, all sorts of great stuff. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. We'll be back.
Chris Markowski is the Watchdog on Wall Street. The only man who is taking on the Wall Street establishment. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street with Chris Markowski.
Welcome back, everybody. Last Sunday, I go to the sunrise Easter Mass, 6:30 a.m. At our church, and our church is right on the Long Island Sound, and it's outside on the water, and I didn't kind of realize it because I didn't feel the wind blowing when I left the house in the morning, but when I got there, it was cold. Oh, the day before was beautiful. I knew it was going to be chilly, but I was frozen out there. But there I am, packed outside. Plenty of space outside out there in the water, and I see countless people wearing masks. Now, again, it's a holiday, so, again, you get a lot of the people that decide to go to church on holidays a couple times a year. Again, to each his own. I'm not judging there. But all of these people out there wearing masks, their kids wearing masks. Now, again, you have the right to do whatever you want. You want to wear a Halloween mask, put a Halloween mask on. You want to wear a surgical, I don't know, wear one. Wear two, wear three. It's your right. But, man, is it annoying? Holy crap. Holy crap. There's kids that are immune compromised. Give me a break. How many immune compromised kids are there? Did I grow up at a point in time? Did I go to school at a point in time when kids were not immune compromised? Maybe because we went outside and we got dirty and we rolled around in the dirt and we ate dirt and we played in the woods and all that good stuff. Maybe your kid is immune compromised because you put a mask on your kid all the time and you dip them in hand sanitizer on a regular basis. Just saying. Just saying. The actual, and in that tyranny piece, there's an actual condition. It's in Japan. They have actual psychiatrists. I'm not making this up. In Japan, dealing with people who are fearful of taking their masks off. It's a part of their culture there. During flu season, people put masks on. And some of them have grown so accustomed to wearing masks, they actually have a fear of taking the mask off. Yeah, I think maybe some of these Japanese shrinks, they should open up a practice here in the United States because, man, oh, man, we've got lots of them here, too. Woo! Anyway, House GOP members calling on some of the top men. The top men, top scientists out there. Dr. Kristen Anderson, Kristen Anderson, to clarify comments that were made about suppressing the COVID-19 lab leak origin theory. I haven't talked about this for a while here on the program, and you know why? It's out of frustration. It's out of frustration, and I get pushback from people from time to time. Why didn't you were covering that? You don't cover it anymore. What do you want me to do? Okay? There comes to a point in time where I recognize that things are just an exercise in futility. I don't have that much power. I really don't. I've got my radio stations that carry the show. Okay, I've got, the podcast, and that's growing like gangbusters, and I'm thrilled with all of that stuff, people. But I cannot continue to talk about things and cover things when, in essence, people don't care. I mean, some of you do. I get it. Will they ever get to the bottom of slab leak there, where it came from? I don't know. But if they do, it's going to be years down the road. And we told you that was going to be the case. They can't disrupt any business dealings and whatnot with China at this point in time. It's not going to happen. So, again, if you get the actual truth about this, any sort of real conclusion about where this thing came from, oh, man. I most certainly, it's going to be, I'll be in my 70s or 80s if it even happens at all. Anyway, quickly on this real estate story. And I talked a little bit about it before, talking about the spring housing market and how high mortgage rates, we're being told high mortgage rates are going to be a threat to the spring housing market. The market is still tight. It is. What higher mortgage rates are going to do? Explain to you what they're going to do. They're going to make the prices of starter homes, once we get through a lot of the supply chain issues, because we're still dealing with that, okay? Once you get through some of the supply chain issues, what in turn will happen is many of these starter homes will come down in price. Many of the, I call them starter affluent homes, maybe second, third homes. People try to upgrade a home, but people are not paying in cash, still taking out a mortgage. They're going to come down in price. It's an inverse relationship, people. Anyway, got to take a break. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Don't touch that dial. A lot more we got to go over on the big show. We'll be back.
You should believe in math, not magic. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street with Chris Markowski.
Got several emails over the past several months, even longer, going back, talking about various different corporations stepping in and buying up homes in places all over the country. And this actually goes back to the financial crisis, where there were so many homes that people just walked away from, turned in the keys, and the prices were way down. Again, you go back at that point in time, I didn't even know what a short sale was. But various different groups went out, started buying up homes and turning them into rentals. Now, again, I don't have any problem with this. The values came down. Smart people saw the value, stepped in and bought them. But there's been this move out there saying, well, all of these corporations are buying up all of these homes as investment properties. It's going to make the prices of homes go up. Yes and no. Certain communities out there, and I get this. You could go the old Seinfeld bit there. They did a whole funny thing with, remember El Boca Vista? With the whole committee there, the HOA board and all that good stuff, and who's on the board. Well, many of these communities, if you live in one of these communities around the country, are putting covenants in the basic, the tenants should live there in the community. The owner has to live in the house. And that's becoming more and more prevalent in many places. And I get it. You get a lot of the more the libertarian people, and I'm a libertarian, so to speak. But again, if a community decides it wants to have certain rules, well, guess what? That's the rules of the community. You can choose not to live in that community, right? No one's forcing you to live there. So, again, I understand some of this. And, again, it's going to offer up opportunity, and there's going to be some disconnects here and there. But it was also fascinating this past week seeing a lot of these, a lot of businesses out there buying up properties in and around college campuses to rent to college kids. Anyway, Anyway, Tesla posted a $3.3 billion quarterly profit. Again, it's said they said they'd like to produce 1.5 million vehicles in 2022, which is up some 60% over last year. Their long-term goal is to increase deliveries by an average of 50% annually. And Elon Musk is saying production in China is going to recover strongly. And again, they have the stuff. They have the materials that go into making these cars. But even Musk himself talked about that, whether or not he should get involved in the mining business. It's great that, you want to have all of these cars. But again, I know we spoke about this earlier. You need to have a grid that can handle all of these cars. You need to have the materials that go into all of these cars. We were making fun of Kathy Wood first hour of the program, and her financial model puts a projected valuation of Tesla in a few years at $5 trillion. Again, that's a lot of minerals we don't have. Anyway, WatchdogOnWallStreet.com, WatchdogOnWallStreet.com. We'll be back.
Bringing America financial freedom one listener at a time. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street with Chris Markowski.
Watching the mainstream media and the elites have a collective freak out over Elon Musk's bid to buy Twitter. And they put out all of these statements out there, these statements talking about how it's a threat to democracy. It's a threat to free speech. They're threatening free speech. We need more content control and censorship so free speech can reign. And I listen to these statements, I read these statements, and it's painful. It's painful. Are these people really that dim, that clueless? And I thought of a great film. When did this come out? Was it the 1990s, I think? Princess Bride. Princess Bride. It was the late 80s or early 90s. I'm actually dressed up. I'm not a big Halloween guy, but I went to a costume party, and I dressed up as this character, Inigo Montoya. You kill my father, prepare to die. The Princess Bride. Princess Bride. And there's the character in the movie, this Sicilian fella named Vizzini. And stuff keeps on happening, and he keeps saying the same word. It's inconceivable. Well, again, it's inconceivable, and Montoya doesn't think he understands it. Play the clip.
You got very good arms.
He didn't fall? Inconceivable. You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
You keep using that word. I don't think you know means what you think it means. And that's all of these people in the mainstream media. They keep using the word democracy. They keep using the phrase free speech. They don't have no idea what it actually means. But they keep using it. Anyway, you know what? This is a big, fat, huge see, I told you so moment here for the Watchdog on Wall Street show. Last year here on the program, this very segment, we do a lot of the woke crazy crap. We talked about New Jersey and an ACLU lawsuit. ACLU lawsuit brought by a trans woman. Now, again, whenever I hear trans woman, I get confused. I'm like, okay, that's that way. Okay, that's a guy that is now pretending to be a girl. It's a trans woman. Got to get that straight, okay? And the lawsuit ensured the rights of trans prisoners to go into the prison of their choosing. So if you are a man that is pretending to be a woman, you're a trans woman, in the state of New Jersey, they file a lawsuit, you can go to the women's prison. On this very program, we told you what was going to happen. Sure enough, not making this up. 2 women at New Jersey's only all-women's prison have both fallen pregnant after having sex with transgender inmates. Why are you at all surprised at this? What did you think was going to happen? And again, I don't know. What happens now? Do the kids, the state take it? Who knows? Who knows? It's the world we're living in nowadays, people. But anyway, want to touch on this too. We haven't talked much about foreign policy. I mean, we've gotten into it heavily here on the program. We'll certainly talk about it on the podcast on a regular basis and what's taking place around the globe and all the horrific things that we're seeing from this war that's a world away to all of us, but is obviously doing untold damage, and just it's awful. You see the images, and again, it makes you sick to your stomach because you can't really do anything about it. But what I don't like, and what I hear is when you have people discussing the realities of the situation here. And it's interesting because you've got people on the far left, and you want to call the far right. I don't know. Noam Chomsky, Tucker Carlson, expressing caution about the situation on the ground and what needs to be done, and being realistic about it. And Matt Taibbi had a really great piece this past week talking about, he called it America's intellectual no-fly zone. And he mentioned we're stuck between 2 very difficult choices, 2 very hard choices. In 1979, an essay, it was actually Woody Allen, My Speech to the Graduates. He said, more than any other time in history, mankind faces a crossroads. One path leads to despair and utter hopelessness, the other to total extinction. Let us pray that we have the wisdom to choose correctly. Now, what did he mean by that? Sometimes you don't have a very good choice. So when you have people on the far left and the far right, and people like myself suggesting, you know what, we got to give an out somehow to Putin, some way, somehow, because this is going horrible for him. In order to end this thing and stop the suffering of the people over there, I know we got to figure it out. Okay? And if you're suggesting that, and you want to discuss that, that doesn't make you a Putin stooge. Okay? It doesn't. Sick and tired of hearing it, calling people Putin because, no. Anyway, gotta go. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com. Happy Easter to all of our Orthodox friends. Big Easter party at our house. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com. God bless.
You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street.